So the RPA is, the full form of the RPA is robotic process so RPA is nothing but robotic process automation. This is the full form of that. And if we go in deeper, what actually we mean by robotic is a robot, which means without human. And the process means set of tasks or steps. We call it as a process. Automation is performing tasks without human intervention. So in short, the RPA is nothing but the robotic process automation, which means a robot will perform the tasks which needs to be performed as part of the process without having any human intervention. So that we call it as RPA. And definition wise, we can have another definition. Robotic process automation is nothing but mimicking human actions to complete the tasks which need to be performed. So, which means whatever the human is doing, the same steps or a series of steps or a sequence of steps where the robot is going to perform, that we call it as robotic process automation. And can someone give me the example of a process which generally you manually do on day-to-day basis? Example process. Generally, you may come across some processes which you generally do day to day.
Means every day what we are doing, we have to tell like that, right?
We can consider booking of flight ticket is a process, because to book your flight tickets, that is a process which needs to be performed. And is it necessary that all the time human needs to do? See here, when we call it as like booking of flight tickets, all the tasks which needs to be performed as part of this process is always same. Log into booking application, selecting the source and destination, select travel date, select number of passengers, enter passenger details, make payment. So these are the 6 steps which we need to perform as part of our flight ticket booking. So all these steps are like in a sequential order, and combination of all these steps will become your process. So whatever you are doing manually, if you are trying to do this through any software or a programming language, that we call it as automation of this particular process. How we can say the process can be automated. So how do we identify that a process can be automated or not? So based on if human intervention is required, then process cannot be fully automated. If there is no human intervention in between and all the steps which needs to be performed as part of our process is always same, then it doesn't require, we cannot automate. So here process cannot be fully automated if the human interactions are there. Steps are changing from time to time. So today we have 6 steps, and tomorrow if we are going to do 7 steps or 5 steps, if it is keep on changing, then we cannot automate. Steps are changing from time to time, we cannot automate the process. And applications we are using are not stable, then we cannot automate. Which means here is our application is booking up application. If this application is keep on changing and it is not stable, and today you will see one different login and tomorrow you will see some different screens and all, if the screens are changing and all these things, then we cannot automate the process. So based on these criteria, we will assess whether we can automate the process or no. And what we can automate. Steps involved in process are always same. That is one point. Process is defined with rule-based tasks. That is second point. When I say a process is defined with rule-based, let us take the example of this. When we are selecting the travel date and number of passengers, here we will be checking whether the tickets are available or not for that particular flight. Because without having that flight, we cannot book the tickets. And if the tickets are not available, then we need to define a rule whether to not to book and send it an email notification that like the tickets are not available and we cannot book, or we need to book for the next day. So in case if such rules are available, then we can easily automate. In case if the tickets are not available, and if you are thinking that like some other day if you want to plan, and the robot will not know on which date you want to travel, there the human intelligence is required, human decision is required. So if each and every step is like conditions whatever we have is properly defined with a rule based, then we can automate that process. Third point is highly repetitive. When we say repetitive means you will be doing the same tasks again and again, and highly repetitive is a good candidate to automate our process. So when we say highly repetitive, if the low volume cannot be automated, we can automate, but you will not get the advantage of automation when it is a very low volume. So when you have a high volume, then it is going to give you the advantage of the automation. So in short, whatever we are trying to do manually, whatever we are trying to do manually, automating the same is RPA. So this is a simple statement of RPA. Everyone clear about RPA, or do you have any questions? If you have any questions, you can just put in the chat so that I can answer the questions. I'm considering that like you guys doesn't have any questions about this, and I'm moving further. What is UiPath? Can someone give me in the chat what is UiPath? And other question is, what is UiPath and RPA? So these two are the questions. Before identifying that particular process ready for automation, we should check the feasibility of that process. What parameters we can check for the feasibility of that process. So here are the steps. So we need to look for whether the process is rule based or not, whether it is repetitive or not. Steps are always same, like which means like your process is well defined and there are no changes in your process. And we need to look for whether the human intervention is required or not. And we need to see like the applications, whatever we are using in our process, the target applications on which we are performing our tasks are stable or not. If still the applications are under development, or like the changes are happening, and also if it's an external website where you will see a lot of new pop-ups and all, which means it's an unstable. So we will be considering these points to assess the process is feasible for automation or not. Feasibility of a process will be uh, assessed based on these points, and the automation potential as well. Automation potential in the sense how much you are going to get benefit from the RPA is how much you are going to get benefit from RPA is completely dependent on how much repetitive and how much volume you have. Can I go further for UiPath introduction? Akash, is your question got clear? Yeah. Rule-based means when we are performing a steps, let us consider this particular process. I said, right, like in case you selected the number of passengers and you got to know that the tickets are not available to book. So what should the robot do? Either it should stop the process and send an email. That is one rule. or else it should book for the next available date. So if such a rules are available, defined, in case if when we are performing some tasks, we are expecting something to happen, and at that particular place, you don't have that expected scenario or expected outcome of that. So in that case, what the robot should do? Let us suppose here, if you consider in this only, you're expecting that tickets are available and we can book the enter the passenger details and we can book the tickets. But the thing is, you don't have the tickets available to book. So in that case, what the robot should do? So that rule needs to be well defined in place when you're performing some tasks. So in case of any unexpected scenario happen, or the expected outcome is not coming out of your existing process or steps you performed, then what the robot should do? That rules needs to be defined. And here there will be two scenarios, right? One is you can stop the process or you can book for the next available date. In case if you are giving either of these two, that we call it as a rule. In case let the people decide, let the human decide on which date he wants to travel, or does he want to change the flight, different flight or different airlines. So if that you are remaining with the human decision making, then that is not a rule based, because for next step, what next step needs to be performed, that will remain with the human, it's not with the robot. Robot can work only if any rules are well defined in place in such scenarios. So here, what is your UiPath? Thanks, Ravindra. Your right answer. UiPath is a automation platform. It's not tool. I'll tell you why I'm saying it as a platform to implement RPA. So what is the difference between UiPath and RPA? UiPath is a platform to implement RPA, which means UiPath is a tool or platform. RPA is a technology. So UiPath is a tool to implement or a platform to implement RPA technology. And why I am calling it as a platform, not as a tool? Because UiPath has a lot of products to support your automations. What are the different products we have for UiPath? First one is UiPath Studio. Develop or design your workflows to automate your process. So whatever the automation we are going to implement, that we can do only from UiPath Studio. UiPath Studio is to develop the processes, and this is for a developer. One is UiPath Robot. Is to execute already developed workflows So the robot is an agent to execute your developed workflows. And where we are going to develop? We are going to develop in Studio. And the third component we have is UiPath Orchestrator. This is to manage monitor processes and robots. So UiPath orchestrator is to manage and monitor your UiPath robot and the processes which we already developed. And this is a desktop application where you are going to install your UiPath Studio on your machine, and even the UiPath robot also. It also will be installed on your machine. These two are the desktop applications. And the orchestrator is web application, where you are going to host this on your server, and you can access this with help of any browser. It can be a Google Chrome, or it can be an Edge, or whatever it might be. And we have a cloud based as well, web application or cloud platform. Even cloud platform is also hosted in their server. So, and we can access this from browser. So these three are the core components of UiPath RPA platform. And do we have any other components for UiPath? Just waiting for your messages, the chat. Do we have any other components? Folks, yes, we have Studio X. Next, just remember that like we have a Studio X, but it is not meant for the developers. So let me pull up Studio X. Develop workflows without code for business users, not for the developers. As a developer, we are not going to use. It's not like we should not use, but we will not use because this will have limited functionalities compared to UiPath Studio. But there are some additional functionalities where like Studio X is providing you when you are dealing with Excel or Outlook or PowerPoint. So whatever the business applications generally the business users are using, right? It is having power at that place, but we can do the development either only in Studio or Studio X. So we cannot combine these two. So as a developer, we will not be using this. What else, guys? Okay. So here come the advanced concepts or advanced products of UiPath. Document understanding. If you are coming out and going for any interviews, if you guys are attending for any interviews, right, you will find this document understanding many of the places. Everyone will be asking for it. AI Center, Action Center, Integration Services, Data Services, UiPath Apps. What else we have? UiPath SV. Task capture. So, see these many products we have in UiPath. Is it necessary for us to learn each and everything? It is not required, but we should be aware of what actually these are, because we may not work on this, but we may require some of these features to implement in our processes. And it is not like uh, we doesn't require any knowledge. We just need to have the understanding of what actually these products are meant for. And there are few things which we should be aware of, because as an advanced developer, or when you're getting into industry and now everyone is looking at that particular things, so the document understanding, AI center, we should learn along with the UiPath studio, or actually UiPath RPA development, because these two are giving the power of artificial intelligence to your UiPath robots. And the document understanding is for processing structured, semi-structured, unstructured documents. And the documents, in the sense, it can be a PDF or it can be image. So document understanding is going to help you to process the documents, which means processing of the documents is nothing but extracting the data from documents. And the AI center is, we have a readily available models. When we say models, machine learning models. Machine learning models where we can configure writing any code and utilize them in our robot, our processes. Which means, so with the help of AI center, without having the knowledge of machine learning, we can leverage this AI center machine learning models, and we can train the models and we can utilize them into our processes. So these two are the advanced concepts of UiPath, where like now majority of the openings are on top of this. And at least it is not necessary that like you worked on it. At least you just need to explain them that like you done a POC, then they are hiring you. So that is the advantage of these two. And the other things is, you just need to know about it. It is not necessary to have the knowledge, but you should know what actually this product is doing. Action center is kind of validation platform, we can say, for human to make decisions in between the process. Which means like when we start initially talked about like if the human decision making is required, we cannot automate the process. But by utilizing, but leveraging this action center, even we can automate our process, though it requires a human decision making. And that human decision making whatever the decision is required, that will be holded in the action center. And once the human makes its decision and validates the data, it will continue the process. The resuming of the process will happen. So that is the advantage of action center. So it is not necessary to have a working knowledge on action center, but you should be aware of this process. And the integration services. So after acquiring cloud elements, the UiPath came up with this integration services. Integration services is a platform to integrate your processes with other applications and expanding your process automation with integration packages. And we will see, as part of our real-time process, we are going to use the integration service as well, because it is not necessary to have in-depth knowledge of this. You should be aware of this process. So I'll be using this integration service as well as part of the process. Integration service, and one of the process we will be utilizing the document understanding and AI center as well. At least we can explain in terms of the process what we have done. You may not able to get the in-depth knowledge of these things, but this integration service is to connect to any application through APIs, which we are going to see what is API and all these things as part of our curriculum. And this integration service is to interact with the applications this is completely a cloud-based. This will not directly implement, but in case if you want to perform some tasks on top of this, then we will be utilizing them in our studio as well. We will include them as well. And the data services. Data service is nothing but a database hosted on UiPath cloud. Naming terminologies will differ, but it is similar to the database, the table structure, schemas, and everything. And we will be utilizing them to store the data or read the data from data services. And we can say it's an alternative to your database. Instead of hosting that on your systems, you can leverage that to data service, and we will not interact in the similar way with the database. It is completely a different approach we are going to do. And even this also we are going to do as part of our process, even the data service also. So I will not teach the data service, but I'll show you how we can utilize it, because when you know the UiPath implementation by learning the UiPath Studio and all, and when you want to utilize other products, it will be easy for us to directly utilize them, because end of the story, we are going to deal with the activities in UiPath that we are going to see, but we can easily leverage these products to implement in our process. And that is where you'll be stand out of the crowd when you are going for the interviews. And the UiPath apps is to build web applications with drag and drop. So whatever the web applications we are seeing, right, any website if you see, those we can build with the help of UiPath apps. And the combining of UiPath apps and data service will help you to build a complete web application. This data service will act as a database backend, and the UiPath apps will work as your front end. And even you can execute your processes from the UiPath apps as well. In case if you want to interact with any of the other applications to get data or something, transfer the data, you can build a process, and that process will be executed by this UiPath apps. And UiPath Test Suite, this is not required as an RPA developer. This is for automation testing. Of course, except the test manager, everything is same, because we will be using only UiPath Studio to build this test scripts. And if you see, like you might have heard of Selenium testing, right? it's an automation testing. Instead of writing that code here with the UiPath Studio, you can build your automation scripts and you can consider that under UiPath Test Suite. UiPath task capture. This is to create BRD documents. Like in any of the processes, right? You will be having the business requirement documents. And here we can say PDD, process definition document. So that can be created with the help of this task capture. Because in automation, we need to capture each and every screen and what we are planning to perform. So this UiPath task capture will help you to create the PDD, and we are going to use this as well as part of our real-time process. We are going to create the process definition document. In that, we will be using this task capture as well. And these are like completely a different topics, which is not as part of the UiPath, sorry, RPA. And this is for process improvements. And this will come into the picture when you completed your automation. And if you want to assess how your automation is going on and what improvements we can do for that process, in that case, we can utilize this tool. And even the task mining and the communication mining. See, communication mining, I was completely new and I was not even aware of this, because recently UiPath acquired the Reinfer, and after that this communication mining came into the picture. This communication mining is to will use the AI power in order, so we can say a kind of conversational understanding from emails or any charts or something, which means like when you receive an email, it will segregate that into a particular folder, or like it may respond back. If you see, right, there are some chatbots we have seen in many of the portals, how it is responding. It is similar to that, and even I need to go through that. And as of now, I know only what actually it is. So these three we may not use or utilize in any of our things, but we are going to use the UiPath task capture. We will not use the apps, but we will use the data service. We will use the integration services. We will use the Action AI Center. We will use the document understanding. And of course, we will be using these three anyhow, because these three are the core components of UiPath RPA platform. And so we are going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Total 8 products we are going to see as part of our real-time processes. But in terms of training, we are going to go through only the UiPath Studio and the orchestrator, because there is nothing to deal with the robot or nothing to learn there, because it is just an agent to execute your flows. So are these the packages of Studio or separate desktop applications? So whatever we are seeing all this, right, from 5, document understanding, everything is like cloud based, and we have an activity packages as part of our Studio. We can implement these, we can leverage these or utilize these all products inside our Studio, and these are like completely a cloud based where we will be having. And here the UiPath task capture is an individual desktop application. This will be a separate. I'll just try to do one thing. Just having some problem here, but I'll show you that, because it's also a desktop application. Any more questions, guys? Till this place. More questions? I'm considering that like you don't have any questions if you are not asking anything. So now let us go with the UiPath installation, and we'll see there we will do the even the task capture as well, whatever we discussed, the installation of that. Let me open my server. So to continue with our UiPath, to do the installation or to get registered, we need to go for cloud.uipath.com portal and we need to sign up. So I already got registered, but how it looks like is, let me sign out. So you can use Google or Microsoft or LinkedIn. SSO is something that the organization login. In case like you have an organization based on your Active Directory credentials, AD authentication, it will automatically gets logged in and continue with email. Like in case if you are not having any of these four, you can have your email. So if you click on this continue with Google, automatically you will be navigated and you just need to click on this account, whatever you want to have. From this is your UiPath automation cloud platform, and you can see the products, integration service, apps, action center, ops, data service, document understanding, task mining, test manager. We have all these products here. And process mining is completely a separate individual product, and it will not be combined with this, and you will not get the process mining along with UiPath automation platform. And this is automation cloud platform. Here you can see all of your products. The data service is not available, but we can data service is available. Yeah. AI center is not available, but we can enable that. We'll see like when we are starting with that, we will see and we'll let you know how you can enable that UiPath AI center. So here, in order to download your UiPath Studio, you need to click on this download button and the studio will be downloaded. I already downloaded it. So here is my UiPath Studio. So we just need to run this. Here there are two options. Quick is something that like you just directly click on install, it will install all your processes. So it is not necessary to do anything. But in case if you want to go with the custom, the quick is something directly we can go, right? But I want to go with this custom and I will show you the different options here. Install only from for me and other users. Like the same mission, we can have multiple users login, right? Multiple user accounts we will be having. So is it only for this user or the complete all users? I'll go with all users. Choose packages. Here we can select what you want to install, whether it is automation developer or attended robot or unattended robot. If you select attended robot or unattended robot, right? In that case, you will not see the UiPath Studio available for you. And here you will see the UiPath Studio and robot, everything is available. But here in these two cases, you'll have only the robot assistant, you will be seeing that. And click on install. Continue, and meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, please post in the chat so that I'll take those questions. So we'll click on S. It is adding the extensions to the Chrome and Edge as well. Chrome is not installed, but here Edge is there. To interact with the browsers, Microsoft Edge or Chrome, we should have an plugin or extension to be installed. Without that, the robot cannot interact with them. Everyone is good? Like no one have any questions? Because this is the first session, you don't have any questions? Before that is getting installed, right? We are talking about our real-time use case multiple times. What actually we are going to do as part of our real-time use case before that is getting installed. Let us not wait much time and waste our time. So one use case is employee onboarding. And here, the applications which we are going to interact. Jira application. An incident will be created in Jira application. And bot will trigger the bot will start the process as soon as the ticket request is received to onboard any employee. And what the bot will do is create user in Active Directory domain. So when I say Active Directory domain, whatever we have, our company's domain name we will be having right after your name, and here it is like skillrp.com. So in that way, it will create a user. create employee, user, and details in HRMS platform. This is one use case and where the applications we are going to interact, and we'll see what all validations we are going to put and everything. Like we are going to have a discussion in such a way how we generally do in an industry, and this will be available to you as well. And this will not be available to you. And this is only on my server, and it will be hard for you to set up. You can skip this step, creation of the user, you can skip, and the rest you can do. And I'll show you like how we are doing it. So just have the knowledge of it. But here, HRMS platform also I'll give you the access. So even you can perform the task in this as well. So you can practice the employee onboarding except creation of the user on Active Directory. Except this, everything else you can practice. And as part of this process, what we are going to do is we are going to have a requirement discussion, TDD, SDD, testing, and deployment. And we will use Git repository to manage our code. So this is how we generally follow in industry, right? The complete industry standards. Second process is accounts payable automation. Here, invoices received on email, extraction of invoice data using document understanding and AI center, putting the invoice information to accounting ERP application. And in all of this, in both the accounts, we are going to do this. And also we will, where we are going to use the data services, we are going to utilize that for the reporting purpose. Whatever we are performing, right? We will be maintaining that transactions, whatever we completed in that, so that the reporting point of that will also work. And here in this, you will have an access to your email. You can have your email, and this is available because I'll give you my skill RPA domain email address, your name at the rate skill RPA, because the AI center is available only for the trial people. If you're going for a trial with that domain user, then only you'll get it. With a Gmail, you will not get this AI center. And this is also available. I'll give access to this as well. And we are going to perform all the same tasks, whatever, like the different things, whatever we have, right? Even that also we will be having here. And also we will train the AI model and we will implement that along with this. So these are the two projects which we are planning as part of our course curriculum by end of the course. This got completed. Here if you see, right, get task capture, click on that. Task capture is getting downloaded. It's a separate application. Launch UiPath. Here we need to configure, right? Let me close this. Let's just stop this. One is enough. cloud.uipath.com. We need to acquire the license, or we need to connect our machine to our UiPath orchestrator. So we need to open this studio. Here, and the preferences, we are going to go for the orchestrator settings, and here we can change. I always prefer to go with the machine key, and we have the machine already configured. Probably I might have already configured it. Under the tenant, we have the machines, and here, see, the name is already there, so we can use this. You just need to copy this. If not, you can directly add it. Or how we can do is, like, we just need to click on add machine, standard machine, and we need to provide the name, whatever we have here, machine name. Both should be same. Click on connect. On sign in. Because the licensing policy of these things got changed. Now my robot is licensed and connected. So we connected our UiPath assistant with our UiPath orchestrator, and now my UiPath studio is licensed for the development. And now we downloaded this, right? Let us open the file. So we will be installing this task capture as well. Install. Finish. For the community license. So from here we can document our process. We can create our process definition document, and we can save them, and we can reopen, and we can do all these things. So this is how we can utilize this task capture. We'll see how we are going to utilize this task capture. So hope we're done with the UiPath introduction and different products we have for the UiPath. And also we covered, just let me sign off. Yeah. And also we covered how to install the UiPath Studio and all. So now we are open for the questions. So you can ask any type of questions or anything, and I'll send you this notepad file as well to your registered email address. So now we are open for the questions. Enterprise of UiPath is the paid version. Yes, Enterprise of UiPath is a paid version, but the thing is, you can go for the enterprise trial, which is you'll be getting it as a trial version with the limited licenses. So as far as you have some company domain email address, you can go for the trial and you can utilize all the enterprise products, whatever they have. Anyone else, guys? Anything else? If you guys don't have any questions, we can wind up the session here, and I'll share the document, whatever we like a notepad file, whatever we use, and also the recording of this video, and you can go through that later if you require, and I'll share the video and recording as well. So if you don't have any questions, we can close our session. So I'll wait for 2 more minutes to take the questions if anyone is having. Major difference from enterprise to the community. So the difference is community is for the developers and the learning purpose, and the enterprise is for the organizations. So when you are implementing any automations at the enterprise level in any organization, you cannot use the community version. You will need to have the enterprise version. And also in terms of releases, community is a monthly release, and it will have some instabilities as well. But the enterprise is a stable release, and you have 6 months biannual releases. Every April and October you'll have the enterprise release, but the community, it's a monthly release. Same like Automation Anywhere. Yeah, but I'm not sure whether Automation Anywhere is having the community version or not. I heard that it is having a trial version, but I'm not pretty sure whether they have the community or not. Okay, then maybe similar to that. Does the Automation Anywhere has any limitation of the community, like 60 days or 90 days or something, or is it lifetime? Perfect. Okay. Yeah, initially the Automation Anywhere doesn't have the community edition or something, but when the UiPath started with those things, and then even uh, Automation Anywhere also started. So it's kind of a market competition, right? So yeah. We are good to close the sessions. So